Hey friendos, welcome back. Hey Evan and Rhino and Crunk and Cetho and Dav. I'm sorry that Cetho and Dav are one mind melded problem together. Also, thank you, Crunk, for the vampire game that I forgot the name of. It's not Survivors, it's something else. But it looks really good. I think you gifted it to both, well, I mean, of course you gifted it to both of us because we have a family library, but thank you. This one's been on my list for a really long time, but in the way that I have of ignoring Ron's good ideas, I ignored it for a while. Also, it, like, surprisingly doesn't go on sale very often. And I'm incapable of buying anything that's not on sale. No, not the watch streak. I'm so sorry, Cetho. I mean, the stream streak has been kind of dead. I really need some face light. Perfect. We got it. We're so good. We got it. Beautiful. All right. I don't know that I necessarily have another brain cell like I said I would yesterday, but we're here anyway. All I want to do is play like stupid number go up roguelikes. Raccoon is fully out now, which I didn't realize, and apparently Dungeon Clawer has some updates as well. But we're playing a game with some substance. We're recovering our collective attention spans. I have green paint in my fingernails, and that's gonna bother me real bad. Right now. Where'd my... Oh my god, where's my... I have a nail file down here. I have a nail file at every desk I sit at. Where the fuck is the nail... Oh well, it's fine. We're gonna be fine. You're supposed to take out the number go up? What do you mean? Oh, it does kind of look like that, doesn't it? That's weird. No, absolutely not. Please leave it in. I don't even know. It's at full opacity. That's bizarre. Huh. Yeah. I don't know why. I guess you're just gonna have to deal with me being slightly insubstantial because I don't know what the fuck is making that happen. I'm on game PC capture. I don't know. Has it? What the fuck? Oh well. The Roottrees are loading. The chroma key isn't even on, actually. We're having so many problems. Poor Grid is having so many, like, network problems right now that I'm not even gonna ask him to touch anything else right now.
The plane that crashed last night just outside of Pittsburgh is now known to have been the private jet of the Roottree Corporation. Local aviation authorities have speculated, based on the pilot's final communication, that the winter storm and heavy winds played a significant role in the crash. On board were multiple family members, including corporate president Carl Roottree and his daughters, the Roottrees sisters, best known for their fashion lines and modeling careers. There were no survivors. Again, for those of you just joining us, the Roottrees are dead.
Hi. Interesting. Oh well.
I know it's late, but...
Oops. I'm guessing you've seen the news. In addition to dealing with the grief, the Roottree Company's lawyers are scrambling.
Everything's about to change. Anyone proven to be a blood relative is about to get much richer. I'm here to ensure everyone is accounted for. I've heard you're an expert at sorting out complicated family trees. A genealogy genie, as it were.
I know who fucked.
I'm going to give you a quick test. Pass, and I can promise you the job of a lifetime. Okay, examine... Oh, alright, alright.
examine my evidence, search the internet, fill in the names, fill in the occupations, fill in the photos. Okay. One of them was married. Rafferty? The person who hired you gave you this photo with a note attached. This was taken during the shoot for the Roottrees Sisters' Got Milk ad. I've tracked down a test photo from before they painted the fake mustaches on, which I thought would be more appropriate considering the circumstances. The ad's copy reads, "You might recognize our faces from the magazine you're reading, or you might recognize our name from the candy bar you're eating. Being a root tree is a full-time job, but so is growing up. That's why the calcium found in milk is so important. Plus, you can't make chocolate without it." Okay, this list was provided to you by the mysterious person who showed up at your door. You'll need it to fill in the family tree. Okay. Oh, they really put me in this, didn't they? Welcome to the Information Superhighway! Thanks for purchasing a new Cashew PC. Your PC is equipped with a 56K modem, which is fast enough to access any site on the World Wide Web, even those with high-resolution images. If you find anything interesting, be sure to print it out with your included high-end color laser printer, or burn a music CD to listen to later. If you want to revisit a search result, be sure to use Netscape Explorer's new History feature. Happy surfing, and remember, Cashew PCs are delicious. Cashew PCs are inedible. Do not try to eat your computer. No notifications, no documents printing. I can't change the clock or my desktop background, which is a real fucking bummer. Nope, I probably don't need to double click the things, but yes! Oh. Spider search. You can create notes quickly by highlighting text with your mouse. There are a lot of obituaries that focus on the Roottrees sisters' modeling careers. You also come across an unofficial Roottree fan site seemingly curated by a teenager. It's neon pink with purple text and hard to read until you highlight the words. The young webmaster writes, "Raina is the most famous because she's the oldest and got married to TMS. But Riley is the smart one. Rose is a middle child like me. You might think they are rich just because they are models, but their dad is also the president of the candy company and their mom Brenda is a fashion designer. They do modeling for her brand Root. I eat Root Tree candy all the time, my favorite are the maple crisps, and try to dress in plaid Root clothes like Riley does in most of the posters. Someday I want to get my ears pierced like Rose." The website's author continues to talk about her own life and what she likes about Root fashion lines, but none of it is relevant. Okay. Raina is the one that's married. And then Riley is the smart one. I'm sorry, Raina is the one that's married. Riley is dressed in plaid. Oh. Okay. EMS. Hey, Gremlin. The notorious Montjoys. What it is Anne Bunyan. Huh? Alright, girl. Okay. Hey, Reina. Okay. Well, that didn't help. Okay, so are there really any TMJs? Oops. Feel like my face is going to be in the way a lot. Well, are they all models? What do you mean there's no one with that name? Interesting. Maybe her name isn't actually Rose. Rose Roottree is not as popular as her older sister Reina, but still very well known. Most of the time they're lumped together as the Roottree sisters. Unfortunately, the results for Rose by herself don't lead to anything different than when searching for the sisters together. Well, fine. TMS is a common abbreviation for early 90s teen heartthrob Tommy Mark Sheridan. Oh wait, was it TMS or TM? I guess it wasn't TMJ. My bad. Tommy Mark Sheridan. His first credited role as Thomas Sheridan was on a soap opera called Time Marches Onward. He skyrocketed to popularity after a starring role in the sitcom Brother Trouble. Since the end of Brother Trouble, he's often been on the cover of tabloids as for his supposed drug use, and more recently, his relationship with Raina Roottree. After a short engagement, they married in 1997 when she was only 19 and he was 23. Tommy Mark Sheridan. Click on Faces in my Evidence tab. Where's that? Oh, I've got a rubber duck. That's cute. Oh, that's neat. Oh. Great. Huh. Mixed in with the recent news of the plane crash, there are a lot of results for Roottree's extremely popular candy products. Their official website is unstable due to traffic due to the traffic it's been receiving. However, you'll find a direct link to the history section that manages to work momentarily. The Roottree Candy Company was founded by Elias Roottree shortly after he married his wife Gwyneth, whose family owned a small farm called the Anderson Maple Farm. For reasons that aren't explained on the page, it has no CEO and no stockholders. Instead, it's run by a president with input and votes from extended family. The site does mention that every president has been a direct descendant of Elias and Gwyneth, including Carl Roottree, who, despite his death, is listed as the current president. The product that put them on the map were 5 pieces, maple candies with 5 different flavors that are dipped in a crispy, crackly candy coating. Since then, they've branched out to countless other products, all of which incorporate maple in some way. Well, their sister company, simply titled Root, specializes in children's clothing. The primary models for Root are the Roottree sisters. Well, fuck you then. Fine. Root, the period is part of the name, is a clothing company. Wow! Oh, great, I didn't even notice you. Thank you for 102 months. It's definitely TMJ. It's a jaw thing. They make clothes for children, from toddlers to teenagers. Although their website's down, likely due to increased web traffic, you find countless retail sites attempting to advertise their clothes towards a target audience. One of them has to say, "You've spied the Roottree sisters looking hella fly on catalogs, magazines, and posters. Now you too can be like Riley, Rose, or Raina." You also come across a website from a collector of clothing catalogs. Apparently Root has released 2 catalogs per year, every year since 1984, and Raina appeared on almost all of them. There's only one mention of that the webmaster considers a collector's item enough to mention. It seems that Brenda Roottree, the Roottree sisters' mother and Root's head designer, appeared on only one cover, holding her daughter Rose in 1985. The site says this was the only time her daughter was ever listed with her birth name, Carly Roottree. Figure out what's incorrect? Okay. Fuck you. Nope. Ah, god damn it. Okay, it's Raina, Rose, and Riley. Are they not all models? Well, fine. Fuck me. Rose has her ears pierced. Oh, like Riley does. Okay, I got the photos backwards. Wait, no, I don't. I'm getting their names confused really badly. Right. Yeah, they're I'm glad one of them does not have an R name. Oh, okay, so this is sort of like Oberdeen.
Sorry to test you, but I had to be sure you could use the internet. Some folks refuse to get with the times. Safe to say, you're hired.
Didn't they just discontinue Ask Jeeves?
The reward for untangling the family tree is substantial. Life-changing, even.
I wish.
But here's the catch. The Roottrees go way, way back. The family tree's a bit daunting. Most people freak out the first time they see the whole thing. But I'm sure you'll be fine. The man who started it was particular about whom he considered family. For your purposes, you only need his direct blood relatives. Anyone related only by marriage is optional, but filling them in can lead to useful discoveries. Lastly, you now have access to some unique websites, plus a list of notable Roottrees.
Unique?
Notable people are easy to find via your search engine, and marked with stars on the family tree. I'm off for now. Carl Roottree had a lot in his office. I'll look for anything useful. I'll return once you identify 6 more blood relatives. Sorry, one last thing. This might sound odd, but if anyone else claiming to represent the Roottrees reaches out, I'd appreciate you not mentioning I was here. Thank you, and good luck.
Brenda? No, she's dead too. Alright. Okay, well, this one I can do. You can open this envelope after the whole family tree has been filled in. It has 2 names that must be typed in manually. The clues are obscure, have been intentionally hidden in the past, and may even require some leaps in logic. Try to keep an eye out for any inconsistencies. Wow, okay. Yeah. Yeah. You know. Oh, it told me? Why is it telling me? Oh, fuck that. All right. This is a list of notable root trees. The person who hired you gave you this list and said everyone on it could be found easily via your search engine. All right, all right. Miracle Jr. You've been in this line of work for a long time. So long, in fact, you've developed a sixth sense for how useful your evidence can be. The numbers in the magnifying glass refer to how many clues are connected to a specific piece of evidence. The higher the number, the more there is to find. At the start of your search, the notables list sets off alarm bells. A list of famous people that you can find via a search engine? It's pretty rare to get something that useful. Best take advantage of it. As you progress, these numbers will change. Whenever you find more evidence or lock in family members, new discoveries will be added to the list and old evidence will become less useful. Trust your intuition. If a piece of evidence seems too good to be true, take a closer look at the people or phrases it mentions. Often the most satisfying revelations come from retracing a path you thought was fully explored, armed with a new perspective. Sometimes the reason certain evidence has such a high value is because it can lead to finding more evidence. You may be missing a huge piece of the puzzle. Five pieces, okay. So strawberry, power plum, cool chocolate, bad blue raspberry, awesome apple. There's 5 flavors because the original inventor had 5 kids. Maybe that's why kids still love him. Radical new flavors because it's no longer the 1920s. What even is an elderberry anyway? This is an advertisement for 5 pieces aimed at kids from the magazine Teen Blast. It mentions that 5 pieces were named as such because the original creator had 5 children. The ad also mentions that the current 5 flavors are not the same as back then. The Roottrees sisters and their parents died in a plane crash on December 6, 1998. The next evening, a shadowy figure appeared at your door and said that the lawyers were looking to sort out the family tree. After a quick test, the figure gave you access to some resources. This includes a list of notable root trees who said they would be the easiest family members to place. They said they would return in the time it took to fill out 6 more blood relatives. Alright, well, let's look for Carl then. Carl Roottree died in the recent plane crash along with his wife, Brenda Roottree, and their daughters, the Roottree sisters. He was the president of the Roottree Candy Company, as well as the clothing company Root, which he co-founded with his wife. There's a short press release that the Roottree Candy Company released today to news organizations. December 6, 1998. It is with a heavy heart that we mourn the loss of Carl, Brenda, the Roottree sisters, and the other employees that perished in the terrible tragedy. The entire Roottree family... I thought it was just the family that died. The entire Roottree family is in shock. and requesting privacy at this time. As the head of our company, Carl was an incredible man and an unmatched leader. Filling his absence will be difficult and may take considerable time. In the interim, we hope that you join us in looking back fondly on Carl and his family's triumphs and accomplishments. They go on to list some of those accomplishments. One of them seems relevant to your search. Like his great-grandfather before him, Carl earned the highly prestigious Watchman of the Year title. Okay. Business Watch magazine is a magazine focused on companies, CEOs, and the economy. Ah, yes. took the servants and buried them with the president, yes. They have been around for over 100 years in one form or another and will often write about major changes in management at famous companies. Every year, they offer an award to a prominent businessman who furthered the field. They call this Watchman of the Year. You find through a few searches that 2 Roottrees have been featured as Watchmen of the Year, Elias Roottree and Carl Roottree. Business Watch does not host any online archives on any site you can find via spider search, though you may be able to find individual articles and issues through your periodical search. Oh, I didn't realize it was a drop-down menu. Carl Roottree was voted Watchman of the Year in 1987 for his work with Root. The cover and a summary of the article has been added to your evidence. Woohoo! Carl Roottree was voted Watchman of the Year in 1987, and a photo of him appears on the cover. According to the cover, Business Watch is the magazine for and about corporate leaders and has ongoing coverage of who's who in the corporate world. Carl was chosen not for his work at Roottree Candy, but rather a clothing company, Root. There's a brief history. Before they married, Carl's wife Brenda was a fashion consultant. When Raina was born, Brenda retired to become a stay-at-home mother. Looking for a creative outlet, she spent any free time she had at the sewing machine. Raina's new clothes were a hit with other parents, including Carl's cousin Jim Roottree, a notable singer. Oops. Who has a note? Great. In 1982, Brenda's patterns were being copied by other brands. Seeing the demand, Carl and his second cousin, Ernie Jr., who had just become president of Roottree at the time, spearheaded Root. Other blood relatives who have a say in the company's finances refused to fund anything other than candy, so Carl personally spent his entire inheritance to bankroll the clothing company. When the profits began to appear, however, the rest of the family changed their tune. They repaid his investment, and now Root exists under the umbrella of the candy company, and they all benefit. For tradition, or perhaps superstition, new clothes always debuted the way the first ones did. Raina became their catalog's cover model. As she grew, the product line expanded to older kids as well. Her younger sisters were then recruited to show off the baby clothes. Carl was voted Watchman of the Year primarily for his personal gamble and the ensuing payoff. Alright, that was lucrative. Hey, Omni. Okay, doesn't seem like I can take any more pictures of this, but that's probably his brother. This is awful. This feels like... I can't think of his name. Okay, so probably this is his cousin. I'm finding the music just a little bit annoying, so I'm turning it way down, so if it's too loud for you guys, let me know. His second cousin, Ernie Jr. Fuck, what's the second cousin? The second cousin is your, grandparents. Probably this guy. Ah, fucker. President fourth. Okay. An article from 1982 announces that Ernest Madsen Jr. is taking over the day-to-day operations of Roottrees after the previous president died unexpectedly. Little is known about Ernest, but sources close to the family who've asked to remain anonymous have made it clear that he's more than qualified. There are rumors that Ernest has originally trained to succeed Zach Morden, but had been passed up for unspecified reasons. Business Watch also managed to get a quote from the company's publicist. The last 4 years at Roottrees have been tough. In an attempt to keep our products relevant to the modern audience, some of our decisions have had unintended consequences. From the fancy flavors misstep to the batter-up bar, we've taken a bit of a tumble in the public eye, but Mr. Madsen is committed to getting back to basics. Alright, so now we've got... Oh, fancy motherfucker. Could go down a notch? Okay. I feel like, when the sax starts wailing, it gets just a little bit invasive. Elias Roottrees was voted Watchman of the Year by Business Watch in 1936, and a painting of him appears on the cover. The magazine says he was voted Watchman of the Year specifically to recognize the global rollout of 5 pieces. Inside the article is a timeline of 5 pieces. 1908, Elias forms the Roottrees Candy Company after marrying his wife, who inherited a maple farm. During the period before 5 pieces, the company is barely profitable. 1909, Elias has a daughter, the first of 5 children. Four more follow, leading to 1922. Elias invents 5 pieces. Each of the 5 flavors is chosen based on the initials of his 5 children, 1 flavor per child. 1924, 5 pieces are first sold in some Pittsburgh markets. 1926, 5 pieces are rolled out to all of New England. 1928, the new recipe and flavor is finalized and the candy begins nationwide distribution in department stores and other shops everywhere. 1935, the Roottrees Candy Company purchases every available maple farm in Pennsylvania in preparation for their global rollout. With the help of his son Elias Roottrees Jr.'s architecture firm, a new industrialized factory and the warehouse are built in Butler County. 1936, production is tripled and worldwide distribution begins. There's also a What's Next section that claims Elias is going to pivot to ensuring his company's legacy and that the Roottrees Candy Company remains a family business. He plans to do this with a Clanced trust. What does that mean? Clanced, pronounced Clanced, Trust is a highly unusual corporate arrangement named after Clancy Edward Roottrees, who was Elias's son. Okay. And the Roottrees Candy Company's head lawyer. Okay. At the time. Due to its unique nature, it's often brought up in online discussions about financial matters and inheritance as an oddity. The company mandates that a fixed percentage of its profits are split every quarter amongst bank accounts and representing each direct relative of Elias and Gwyneth. An account is created for each blood relative at birth and first accessible when they reach 18. The actual numbers have never fully been disclosed to the public, but due to the ever-increasing success of the company, it's a significant amount of money. The clan's trust is known for being essentially impossible to get around due to many checks and balances written to it. Still, there have been a few situations in which family members have tried to forcibly remove another member from the trust. More details online are pretty vague since the matters are handled internally. The only information you discover is from a university law school, which apparently has a guest lecturer talk about the Roottrees vs. RR in 1994. While looking into the clan's trust, you often find mentions to the 5-piece guarantee, which went into... I'll guarantee your 5-piece. All right. You find some information on a website for the first Anderson maple farm. There are a few photos, including a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth. The photo is at... Oh, great. Before marrying Elias, Gwyneth Roottree was Gwyneth Anderson. She had no brothers. So as an oldest sister, she was to inherit the Anderson maple farm, as long as she married. Before Elias took over, the farm produced only syrup. It was supposedly Elias's idea to create candy instead. Their success was not immediate until they decided to combine the maple with other flavors. This led to 5 pieces, which are still found in stores to this day. I just can't imagine maple candy having an additional flavor. To be fair, I don't really like maple syrup or candy. That's kind of terrible of me, I guess, but this just doesn't sound good. Though the Roottree Candy Company expanded well beyond their original farm, it's been preserved as a tourist attraction. According to their website, there's still daily demonstrations and educational tours that show off many of the turn-of-the-century appliances that Gwyneth would have used as a housewife in the early 1900s. Wonder if the painting counts. Yay, me! Oh, that's cool. Non-blood relatives and small portraits are optional, but placing them in the tree helps remove extra names and photos. Great. Alright, so he had a daughter. Roottree. Well, we had an elderberry. I feel like this should be Elias Jr. Elias Roottree Jr.'s name is listed on a website about historical buildings in Butler County. He's listed alongside an old residence that has been preserved called Hunchop House. You attempt to find more information about the man and building, but come up empty. Okay. Oh, I need the author name and book title. This is fun because my keyboard is like so old. It feels like using a library keyboard in 1995. I know, Ron. When I started, I said, you know, despite my my long-held habit of not listening to Ron, here we are. Here we are doing it. I want this button over here. Okay. Gwyneth Roottree is Gwyneth Anderson. That one's done. Clancy Edward Roottree, who is Elias's... We can look him up. That's it? Okay. Oops. I like that it just adds the thing for you. Maybe Elias wasn't the, he was an architect. But he should be the second. He should be the first boy. I mean, I guess we can look at the 5 pieces again. I don't really feel like that gives me any information. Yeah, I was just saying that. I'm like, I cannot imagine apple-flavored maple candy. From marketing materials and various candy history sites, you learn that 5 pieces are the iconic candy stole by the Roottree Candy Company. Although they're no longer the company's only popular product, they still sell well to this day. 5 pieces are small, colorful, shell-coated maple candies that, although since the late 20s, have been pressed into the shape of a maple leaf, although they usually have one flavor that looks more like a berry. As tastes have changed over the years, so have the 5 flavors, but the shape and combination with maple have remained consistent. There's also a history of print advertising website that claims to have 5 pieces advertisement scanned from a book called The Sweet History of Candy, Volume 2 by Charles Lee. Unfortunately, when you click through the website, it seems like all of their image links are broken. Yeah, I don't know how copy works. Hey, Snowball! Neuron activation. Nice, Dab. This is part of a book series about all things candy in the modern world. It starts in 1925 and continues onwards to chronicle the rise of mass production and global distribution. The book ends with a look into the future of candy as envisioned by experts in 1985. With the addition of hindsight, you can clearly see they got pretty much everything wrong. It includes some print advertisements. You find a newspaper ad for 5 pieces from the 1930s, added to evidence. You found this advertisement. It states that the flavors are inspired by their children, and the order is grape, elderberry, cinnamon extract, melon, and the newest flavor, miracle berry. Okay, so that's miracle. Modern candy for a modern society. Roottrees' 5 pieces contain different maple-infused flavors. The Roottrees are a proud family business, and our flavors are inspired by our children. G is for grape, E is for elderberry, CE is for cinnamon extract, M is for melon. I don't want to be the melon child. And including M for miracle berry. Miracle berry is a burst of beautiful blossoming blended berries. Try it today! Oh, did it? I didn't even notice. That's great. I'm not a big jazz fan. Yeah, they're just really doing a lot of work for me. Right, Grape. We've got a girl who's named Grape. I'm gonna go with Gwendolyn. Elderberry. This one is definitely Elias Jr. I'm right about that. And then this is gonna be Clancy Edward. I don't know what melon is. Thought he only had one daughter. Unless it's like watermelon or antelope. I'll hold on that one. Stop. Alright, but I should know that one. You find a website for the Miracle Network, a production company run by the Miracle Roottree Estate. It's quite bare bones, but has the following blurb. Witness the testimonies of the Miracle's Roottree. The Miracle Roottree arrived so late in his mother's life that doctors swore he wouldn't survive his first year. From his mother and father, Elias and Gwyneth named him Miracle because they thought it him impossible. He was younger than his brothers and sisters by over 14 sisters. Okay, so it can be Melon or whatever it is. With a birth that late, the final child of his generation was nearly torn apart by countless health problems, but still, with the power of God on his side, he persevered. He triumphed over these complications and even regained his sight to spread the healing word of the Almighty. 23 years later, Miracle Roottree Jr. arrived and became the famous family's second vessel for the higher power. Second vessel for the higher power? At 18, he unburdened himself from the Roottree name and took his father's testimony to a whole new level. Via the power of television, Miracle Jr. spread the gospel across the entirety of New England. He's since left the life of glamour and glitz behind to reach those places that need it most. The power of the Lord coming to a town near you. Oh, God. Witness the power of the Lord in the summer of '96. 3 generations of miracles on tour, featuring testimony of the world-famous Miracle Jr., and a special appearance from Miracle Roottree in his 68th year on God's earth. Children now welcome. Celebrate with your pastor, Miracle Third, and his wife, Nicole. Okay. Oh, no. Huh? Does it only give me a right if I have several of them? Miracle Tour. At 18, he unburdened himself from the Roottree name. But he's still referred to as Miracle, and that's the only... Well, he would be Miracle Roottree anyway, because that's what he was born as, so... You find a website for the Miracle Network. Oh no, we did this. Miracle Roottree Estate. Miracle Jr. doesn't go by his full name in promotional materials. Instead, he shortened it to Miracle Jr. Okay. Miracle Jr. is a televangelist who's part of the Miracle Network. Do I have televangelist as a... No? I don't know if that counts as preacher or media personality. Oops. Part of the Miracle Network, he used to have a show that aired on local access across many stations in the northeastern United States. According to a website called Clergy Watch, he was exposed and subsequently charged with conspiracy to defraud the public in 1979 when he claimed to heal someone in a wheelchair. A news expose revealed it was his wife Edith's sister in disguise. I guess it's not... Well, no, his is starred, so that's gotta be Miracle Jr. He has since lost his television show and instead goes on tour across the southern United States where he was not well known before the scandal. Wait, did I get them confused? No, that was Miracle Jr. And then Miracle Third. And his wife, Nicole. But I don't know which Nicole. Alright, well we can do Clancy Edward Rucci. Just kidding. You find very few details about this particular incident with regards to the Clancid Trust. A student that attended the lecture about it wrote the following on Legal Oddities website. From what you can tell, RR attempted unsuccessfully to remove a fellow family member from the trust. It was said that RR attempted two arguments. First, the person in question was born out of wedlock, and second, they committed a significant crime against a fellow family member. Still, due to the ironclad wording of the clan's trust, it was impossible to remove any direct descendant of Elias Roottree without completely dissolving the trust. There is no additional information online. Okay, so I think that's what happened down here. I don't know if that's correct. Nope. That's not it. It's this one. Because this is about the right time period. All right, Carl Roottree's cousin. Oops, Jim Roottree. James Roottree is a singer who sings in the duo Jim and Diamond with his wife Diamond LaRue. Duo, according to many sources you find, is considered a one-hit wonder due to the disco song Rollin' On Down to the City. Great. Although Jim writes the majority of the songs, plays the guitar, and often sings, Diamond is considered by fans to be the band's lead singer. The band never had another hit, but has its fans, who refer to themselves as Diamond's Dazzlers. The rest of their music is more folksy and acoustic than the one song they were known for. Jim and Diamond have continued to release music through the 80s and early 90s. Other albums you'll find are Cherry Tree and Sound of Laughter. Jim has become a bit of a recluse and hasn't made a public appearance since 1996. Oh, God. Rollin' On Down to the City was barely a top 20 hit for a few weeks in 1979. According to the liner notes, it satirizes how part of society that was content to remain indifferent to economic inflation and civil unrest in the Middle East, unless pop culture tricked them into caring. Somewhat ironically, listeners didn't seem to pay attention to the lyrics enough to trick them into caring. Instead, most of its play came from roller discos. Because it was such a product of its time, it doesn't get much play anymore, even on stations that play oldies. Maybe that's why you've never heard of it before now. This image is from an auction for a sealed copy. It has a sticker on it that says, only the great-great-grandson of Elias Roottree could make disco this sweet. It's credited to Peter Janowitz from MMM. Music and vocals by Jim Roottree, vocals by Jim Roottree and Diamond LaRue. Jim Roottree is on the notable Roottrees list in your evidence. The lyrics of the song contain no clues. We're rolling on down to the city. Saturday night and you're quite a sight. The world might be burning, but I'm feeling right. Making ends meet to pay rent and eat. We can't afford gas, so we skate in the street. The guys all rush to say that I'm pretty. Ladies blush and find me so witty. They're out of luck tonight, what a pity. We rolling on down to the city. On wheels we glide with you by my side. Inflation is rising, but so is our pride. Pick our own fate, make love, not hate. They fight overseas, but we'd rather skate. Politicians at large are all hopeless. The bankers in charge are all clowns. But parties sell better than protests, so signs up while we boogie down. Oh, yeah. I wish I could put some of these away. Zeno? No. You have a whole chair. Lay down. An album by Jim and Diamond released in '95. It wasn't professionally reviewed, though die-hard fans of Jim and Diamond online say it was a return to form. The CD was apparently so hard to find in stores that some fans have resorted to selling cassette bootlegs of it. There's a music commerce website that claims to sell the album, but it's sold out at the moment. You do find a short sample of one of the songs called Sun. You add it to your evidence. Sun. Thought they said daughter. Oh, well, yeah. I guess they can have both. Cherry Tree is an album by Jim and Diamond, and one of the website you found it on did not have a full version, but you managed to find a short preview of the song's chorus. Jim sings the following. There blazed a spark of light that ever brightly shone, from her starting days imparting wisdom to conquer life unknown. Though some days she'd depart, in part I'd never be alone. In my heart, I'd always be the son of... Known. Okay. Al Capone, perfect. Edward. Oh, so he's... Okay, we're talking about a woman. So not necessarily a Roottree. Unknown? Yeah, that rhymes. An album by Jim and Diamond released in 1989. You can't even find a picture of the cover. It doesn't appear to have been very successful, and reviews seem middling, even from fans. Some basic liner notes exist on a Jim Roottree fan page, and it states that the lyrics and guitar are credited to Jim Roottree and vocals are credited to Diamond LaRue. Diamond's Dazzlers is the name of the official fan club for Jim and Diamond. You find a forum post called Cool Things You Got in the Mail on a random forum about video games. One reply mentions that Jim and Diamond still send out Christmas card every year to Diamond's Dazzlers. It's accompanied by some pictures as well as some history about the fan club. Apparently, even though it's no longer available to join, Jim and Diamond still honor it themselves personally. There's a fierce debate in the subsequent posts about whether that's cool or pathetic. Amongst the pictures of Christmas cards from over the years, only one is relevant. The card from '96 includes pictures of Jim and Diamond's young son, Wolf, as well as a note about his daughter's band, the Floozies. The Floozies are an all-female punk band operating out of New York City. They're mentioned in passing in an online review from earlier this year. Apparently, they were the opening act for the band the reviewer actually came to see. The reviewer writes that she normally doesn't review the opening act, but this one was unusual, and not because of the music, which she described as loud, fast, and repetitive, but not in a good way. The trio was extremely cagey about their identities. The reviewer asked the venue who they were, and she was told they were rumored to be the children of other famous musicians and didn't want that to be why they became popular. The reviewer also mentioned that for an underground and unknown band with absolutely no following, their equipment was all extremely expensive. And not only were they selling CDs, but they only cost $1. They were probably losing a fortune. The reviewer said although she bought a copy, she would be unlikely to ever listen to any of it again, except maybe Beef Baby, the 7th track. There's no picture of the Floozies performing live, but the cover from the CD they were selling, Conquistador, has been added to your evidence. All-female punk band. And a trio. Andy, Nikki, and Nina. Okay, so we get them in threes.
You're on a roll. I'll try to keep that momentum going. Carl's office was a mess, thanks to some burst pipes. But I unearthed a photo from a 1970s Roottree reunion. I also found some important-looking papers. You've traced 9 blood relatives so far. I'll have more to share after you find 9 more.
Can I get some takeout? All right. Vote Stephanie Jones for City Council, better for Butler County. This was buried under a ton of other mail that Carl left in his inbox. It had a handwritten note attached to it that seemed personal. It's a flyer about a candidate for local office, Stephanie Jones. On the back is an excerpt from a newspaper article from the Butler County Times about her campaign. Stephanie may have grown up in an unconventional family, to say the least, but in her words, it's still full of love. And now, 22 years later, with a baby of her own due around Christmas, her message for voters is simply, love is our future. The handwritten note says, Carl, I know we don't see eye to eye when it comes to the candy company, but if you could talk to your girls about putting out a statement supporting Stephanie, she could use the publicity your daughters bring. Don't let our conflicts spread to the next generation. CM. Okay, so Carl's cousin, probably. Oh, Stephanie Jones. Sorry. All right, so the guy is Jones. This is a Stephanie, but I don't know which one. Let's look up Stephanie Jones. You learn from an election results page that Stephanie Jones, a candidate for city council, won her campaign on election day about a month ago. You find no mention of the Roottrees in any articles about her. Stephanie also has a very bare-bones website for her campaign. It's simply a picture of her campaign mailer, and underneath it says, be sure to read the full article in the Butler County Times. Is that a periodical? Great. Butler County is located outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. While the Roottree Candy Company now has its headquarters in the city, the company began on a small farm within the Butler County limits, and the area has a lot of history with the family. The Butler County Times is presumably a local paper there. There are likely articles from over the years involving the Roottree family and those adjacent to them. It's been automatically added to your periodical search interface. As a side note, a video game called The Roottrees Are Dead was once set in Butler County, and it turns out the creator never lived in or near Butler County or even had any connection to Butler County. Thank you. Great. The most recent mention of Stephanie Jones is a small report detailing the election results from last month's election. Stephanie apparently won her election. You also find the full version of the newspaper clipping on the back of the campaign mailer. While most of it's unimportant, you do find the following. Stephanie Jones, born Stephanie Landon, until her marriage to local business owner Brian Jones. Has lived in Butler County her whole life. Stephanie grew up in a home without a father. With my mother and her partner, I essentially had an entirely female influence. Though she's a distant cousin of the Roottrees, her mother, Caroline... Hmm. Though she is a distant cousin of the Roottrees, her mother Caroline, a local artist who has appeared on the front page of the Butler County Times in the past, has often come out opposed to the corporation's policies regarding deforestation of indigenous trees to expand their maple farms. Unlike my mother, I'm not a fighter. I want to bring love to the world. Okay. I did that wrong. I think I took that from somewhere. Oh yeah, second cousin. Shit. Wish I could clear. I'm sorry I'm jumping around. Well, I'm not sorry because this is how my brain likes to work, but it's probably annoying for you. This photo has a note attached from your employer. Here's a bonus! When I pulled the water damage picture of the free spirits out of the frame, this fell out too. Written on the back of the photo is, couldn't make the reunion, wishing you well from Paris, Gwyn and the boys. Film school. So Gwyn is a female. It would make sense if... This photo was tucked inside an envelope with a letter beneath a candle in the corner of his office. The letter says, To Carl and Brenda, I'm sorry that you were unable to attend the funeral. It's traditional to have it as soon as possible, and Ernie, more than anyone else on Earth, knew how busy your job can be. I've enclosed a Shiva candle identical to ours if you'd like to pay your respects, though it's not expected for those outside the faith to do so. Ernie was a man full of love, not only for his family, but for his family's legacy. He had an immense amount of pride for the work you three did together, as well as how Carl carried on for him after taking over. As for myself, it's impossible to express my gratitude enough for rescuing us from the panic and burden of endless bills. Though we caught it too late for him to get on the doctor list, the company took care of us beyond our wildest expectations. It went unsaid at the time, but Ernie and I knew it had to have been Carl that convinced the trust, and that it was no coincidence that it happened very shortly after your visit, Brenda. Up until the end, Ernie and I had to stay strong, especially for Nicole's sake. We could never have done that without the two of you fighting for us. Much love, Debbie. Ernie. That can't be right because I should have a picture of Deborah. Ernie Jr. was a former president of the Roottree Candy Company. He seemed to directly precede Carl Roottree, and one website even says he was Carl's mentor. He was apparently very successful as president, but not so much as a public figure. He was rarely seen in public and stepped down due to illness in 1996. He has since passed away. Ernest had trained to succeed Zach Morden. Oh god. This photo had a note attached from your employer. Every 20 or so years, the Roottrees would hold a big reunion and recreate the old family photo. This is the one from the 70s, and Carl's the teenager in the middle. Sorry about the water damage. A pipe burst in Carl's office. On the back of the photo, in childish print writing, it says November. There's also a large number of cursive signatures. They include Bonnie, next President Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr., Caroline, Gwyneth M., Gwendolyn, Miracle Jr., Jim Roottree, Clark, Carol, and Eli M. Oops. Yeah. gotta be November. All right, so Ernie Jr. This can't be correct. Because if he is Jewish, I guess he could have converted, but that's passed down on the matrilineal line. And her implication is that Carl is not Jewish. Okay, this has got to be Miracle because he's the youngest. I've got second cousin wrong, don't I? That can't be right. If that's Clancy, that can't be right. And I'm pretty positive that one's Clancy. All right. Okay, the 5-piece guarantee in combination with the clan said trust was Elias Roottree's attempt to ensure that the Roottree Candy Company would remain a family business for eternity. Right. Yes. So I think I was correct in the beginning. So I think shares a pair of grandparents with you. Or shares a pair of great-grandparents with you, but not the same grandparents. Yeah, so this has got to be... Huh. I'm just going to let this sit for right now. In isolation, it's somewhat baffling. The yearly salary of Roottree's president is always locked to the price of a single pack of 5 pieces. When the 5-piece guarantee went into effect, this was 25 cents a year. Now it's closer to $4. Combined with the clan's trust, however, it makes a bit more sense. Elias wanted to ensure that only his direct relatives could afford to be president, and he knew that because their passive income was tied to the profits of the company, they would have a vested interest in keeping the company as profitable and successful as possible. Whether or not this was a smart or successful decision is widely debated both online and in person by economics enthusiasts of all levels of expertise. distant cousin. Carolyn is listed on a few art websites without much detail. She seems to be associated with a movement called PFLAG, an organization founded in the 70s. The acronym stands for Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays. Okay, that's not helpful. Okay, so this has got to be a Morden. No, just kidding. No, it is, that's right. So Morden, so you're a Morden. If you're a girl. Jones. Shit. No, that's right. Caroline Morden. You find a cover story about local art installations, including one by Carolyn Morden. There isn't much about Carolyn as a person, but this is mostly a listing of art in Butler County. She seems to get top billing. Accompanying the story, there's an image of Carolyn standing beside a large metal sculpture of a mermaid. It's captioned, "Carolyn standing next to her sculpture, Atlantis Burden." The sculpture is one of many works featured in her upcoming book, Self-Portrait, Art and Beauty of Women. According to a quote further down, Atlantis Burden is meant to symbolize a society split by indecision over whether women should be equals or something to protect. The picture on the front page has been added to your evidence. Alright, published 1987. Softcover, large art photography sculpture dedicated to Eloise and Stephanie. Mostly black and white pictures of Carolyn's art. The centerpiece is a series of full-color nude self-portraits at different angles, stretching from 25 to 30. They certainly have not been added to your evidence. Wow. In the intro, Carolyn talks about influences. She was one of the youngest in her generation, and in her late teens, she felt betrayed when her sister Gwendolyn and her cousin Bonnie gave up on dreams to settle for boring men. She especially dislikes her brother-in-law, Dr. Wilson, who she calls completely bogus. Their marriages led her to double down on her passions, art and the environment. She even married a man who was the opposite of boring, which was an overcorrection. She comes out strongly against the Roottrees Company's effect on the local environment and rues how she was not able to convince her father, Zach, to make changes to policy. Father Zach. Come on. Cousin Bonnie. Probably Bonnie. All right. She comes out strongly against the Roottrees Company's effect on the local environment and rues how she was not able to convince her father Zach to make changes to policy. He was a president. Ah, he was a president. I can't be right. She also explains that her marriage to Mark led to the most volatile moments in her life, all negative, and that the only good thing he ever gave her was a daughter. Leaving them all behind for good has pushed her to pursue her true loves, art and the beauty of women. Huh, maybe this is Zach. He would have been the third. Yeah, she's definitely gay, but I don't know what. And her wife's name is Eloise. Should we assume the person with the beret is Caroline? I can't do anything about it anyway. It's definitely gay, yeah. That's spelled wrong. No, it's not. Hmm. Okay, so that's Eli. Do I have an Eli? I don't think so. I'm scared to like take too many pictures and clutter up my inventory. Alright, so yeah, she's definitely CM who has beef with Carl because she's gay. I feel like this is all correct. I feel pretty good about all of this, but apparently not good enough. Where did she go? Oh, it's only giving me guys. I see. What if this is Gwen? I love that. That's great, Ron. No, this can't be it because it has to be Zachariah because he was the president. Well, I guess it doesn't have- no, it did say her father, Zach. Alright, so not you. I might not be able to go for very much longer. Just because, you know, the brain. I would love to lock in 3 more. but I think I might be at a point where I have to walk away. I wish I could get a picture of Miracle. Oh, do I need 9? Or no, it does it in groups of 3, right? I feel like I should still have, I feel like I should have this one. All right, let's look at that list of notable root trees. RR. Oh, there's 2 N's in Gwyn. Fuck you. You find some information on a website about old films that are not yet available on VHS. The site is not very well organized and the search is broken, but you can get to individual pages from your search engine. Gwyn Roottrees is a somewhat well-known actress who was active in the 1950s. That doesn't seem like the 50s. Highly publicized divorce, eh? Well, maybe this is Gwyn Roottree then. She often, yeah. Her biggest role was the minor hit movie Guys Like Us. Guys Like Us. I don't know. She left Hollywood after the flop Christmas Mission. There's a widely circulated picture of Gwyn from behind the scenes on one of her movies, which you've added to evidence. Did you know, trivia? Gwyn was the granddaughter of Elias Roottree, the founder of Roottree Candy. She shouldn't have been named Roottree, but her father took her mother's famous name, which was quite rare in those days. Yep. Okay, great. Then I am correct. This is correct. Great. Miracle Jr. is not correct. Well, I guess it must be Preacher then. I don't know why I had him as Media Mogul. All right. I think this is a smart place to stop so that I don't just start running around in the same little circles. It is likely I will not be on tomorrow because tomorrow is supposed to be a beautiful day and Grid has it off, so we might just be people at night. So, sorry, but I will at least see you Tuesday. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you, Ron, for being patient with me forever with games that I'm going to like, and then I just refuse to fucking play them. I know, how dare I be a people? I might be a people on a motorcycle. I don't know, we'll see. But thank you, friendos. Have a good night.